All right, so imagine this. You're in space, zero gravity, right? And you're just kind of floating there, looking down at Earth. It's like, whoa, this incredible blue marble just hanging in the void. Pretty amazing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely breathtaking. It's the kind of image that captures the imagination, right? The wonder of space travel.
Totally. But let's face it, there's a, well, less glamorous side to space travel that we don't always think about. Like, what happens when you need to,
Take care of business.
Yeah, exactly. When nature calls and you're hundreds of miles above Earth.
It's one of those fundamental human needs that takes on a whole new level of complexity in space. And surprisingly, it's something that a lot of people just don't consider.
So today we're going deep, beyond the spacewalks and the cool science experiments, into the nitty-gritty of daily life on, say, the ISS. And we've got some incredible firsthand accounts to draw on, real astronaut experiences.
We're talking about the surprisingly intricate engineering and adaptations required for, well, something we all do every day, multiple times a day.
And believe me, it's way more interesting than you might think. So buckle up, space fans, because this deep dive is all about the, shall we say, waste management systems in space.
Or, to put it more plainly, we're talking about space toilets.
Yep, space toilets, and the ingenuity that goes into making them work.
The kind of stuff that makes you appreciate just how much we take gravity for granted here on Earth.
All right, so first things first, the official name for this marvel of space plumbing is the Waste Collection System, or WCS. And as you might imagine, the biggest challenge, the thing that makes this whole thing so different from using the bathroom on Earth, is weightlessness. I mean, how do you even begin to deal with, well, stuff when there's no down?
It's all about airflow and suction. The WCS is basically a very specialized vacuum system.
Like a super-powered vacuum cleaner for
For precisely that purpose.
Got it. Don't try this at home, folks, but it's a good way to visualize it, right?
Absolutely. It creates a directed airflow that acts as a kind of artificial gravity.
Okay, so let's start with the simpler process, peeing.
And what's really fascinating here is the level of freedom that zero gravity gives you. According to our astronaut source, you can pretty much position yourself however you want. Forward, backward, even upside down, if you're feeling adventurous.
Upside down. Wow. That's a bit different from, trying to find a discreet spot behind a tree here on Earth.
No more worries about poison ivy or awkward encounters?
That's for sure. But you do still have to anchor yourself.
Absolutely. You don't want to drift off midstream, so to speak. So foot straps are essential. You secure your feet, flip a switch to activate the WCS fan, and you actually feel a gentle airflow.
That's the suction kicking in, right?
Exactly. It's what guides everything in the right direction.
And then there's I guess it's still a funnel, right?
Yep, still a funnel.
Yeah.
But instead of gravity doing the work, it's attached to a hose that connects to the WCS.
So all very contained and efficient. But here's the part that I always find kind of mind-blowing. What happens to the urine after it goes into the system?
It gets recycled.
Recycled.
Yep. It goes into a storage tank where it's purified. And then, get this, it comes back as drinking water later in the mission.
So you're basically drinking your own well?
In a very purified form, yes. It might sound a bit strange at first, but it's a closed-loop system. It's all about conservation.
Water is definitely precious in space, so I guess you can't be too picky, right?
Resourcefulness is key when you're living in a closed environment like that.
All right, so we've covered number one. Now, let's get into, number two, the more challenging aspect of space bathroom etiquette.
And, as our source notes, it's something that even astronauts approach with a certain level of, respect.
I can imagine, but thankfully, the WCS designers took privacy into account.
Big time. When you activate the system for this particular function, that fan we were talking about really kicks into high gear.
It's described as sounding like a jet engine.
Which, in a confined spacecraft, is probably a welcome noise.
I bet it is. Let's walk through the steps. So you lift the lid, turn on the fan, and then you basically have to, position yourself over the opening, right?
Exactly. And this is where the really specialized equipment comes in. Use a plastic bag about the size of a large sandwich baggie that fits over the toilet opening. And it has these small holes in it.
Holes? But doesn't that,
The holes are small enough to prevent anything from escaping, but they're strategically placed to allow the suction to work. So everything, the waste, the toilet paper, it all gets pulled into the bag.
Ah, I see. So it's like a self-contained system within a system.
You got it. And once you're done, you seal the bag using a little red tab.
Simple as that.
Well, almost. You then push the sealed bag down into the toilet, past the little swinging door, and it's stored until it can be disposed of.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Not always, unfortunately. Our astronaut source mentioned a rather inconvenient reality. The container where these bags are stored can fill up, sometimes in the middle of the night.
Meaning someone has to get up and deal with it.
Not exactly the most glamorous part of being an astronaut.
Definitely not. But here's something to think about. Those bags of, are actually being looked at as a potential resource for future missions to Mars.
It's true. There are plans to use that organic waste to cultivate food. It's a great example of how space exploration pushes us to find innovative uses for things we might normally consider, waste.
Waste not, want not, as they say. And just to clear up any misconceptions out there, our source was very clear about this. There are no chocolate nut candy bars floating around the space station. The WCS is described as clean, neat, and easy.
So no need to worry about any, shall we say, messy scenarios. The reality of space travel demands a high level of hygiene and precision.
Okay, now beyond the specifics of the space toilet itself, the astronaut we're focusing on also shared some pretty interesting stories about, having to go in unusual places during training here on Earth. I mean, talk about preparation.
It really gives you a sense of the lengths astronauts go to get ready for the unique challenges of spaceflight. It's not just about learning to operate the equipment. It's about adapting to the environment, both physically and mentally.
So we're talking like practicing with diapers in a bathtub before the shuttle launches.
That was a pre-shuttle era procedure, apparently.
Yeah.
But yes, very hands-on preparation.
Wow. And then there's the whole Antarctica experience. I mean, talk about extreme.
Simulating spacewalks in Antarctica, dealing with the extreme cold and all those layers. It's all about pushing your limits and getting used to operating in a very unforgiving environment.
I can imagine. And then there's this hilarious anecdote about the bathroom in Star City, Russia, with the sign that said M for, Mushina, I guess.
Which, as our source points out, could be misinterpreted in some rather interesting ways. It's a classic example of the kind of cross-cultural humor that comes up in international collaborations.
Oh, I bet. And they came up with a very clever solution, too.
The upside-down W. A simple fix, but it speaks volumes about the adaptability and ingenuity of these folks.
It's those little details that really bring the human element of space exploration to life. And then there's this almost unbelievable story about having to, take care of business underwater in the Aquarius habitat with giant angelfish swimming around.
And all while mission control's making announcements about heading to the gazebo. It's a truly bizarre and hilarious image.
You can't make this stuff up. And it really puts things in perspective, right? Peeing in space, even with all the procedures and the specialized equipment, sounds like a walk in the park compared to some of the situations these astronauts have encountered.
It just shows the level of dedication and focus these individuals have. They're prepared to handle just about anything, no matter how strange or unexpected.
So yeah, the space toilet might seem a little weird at first glance, but it's a pretty incredible testament to human ingenuity. I mean, we figured out how to deal with something as basic as going to the bathroom in an environment where everything wants to float away.
It's a testament to the fact that even when we're pushing the boundaries of exploration, we're still human, and we still have basic needs that have to be addressed. And it's in finding those solutions that we often learn the most.
Absolutely. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about something that everyone can experience, something that connects us all to the wonder of space exploration. Seeing the International Space Station with our own eyes. There's a really beautiful passage in our source material where the astronaut describes watching an ISS fly over with their neighbors early one morning.
It's a reminder that space isn't some distant, abstract concept. It's something tangible, something we can actually observe from our own backyards. And it's something that this astronaut felt a real need to share with the people they cared about.
I love that. It's like, hey, I live up there, come check it out. But it's also that realization that it's not just a bright light in the sky, it's a place where people live and work, a real functioning home in orbit.
And that can be a really powerful realization.
Yeah.
It makes space travel feel so much more real, so much more attainable. It expands our sense of what's possible.
So how do we actually see it? How do we spot the ISS?
Well, it's more than just looking up and hoping for the best. You need to know where to look, when to look, and for how long. And thankfully, NASA has made that incredibly easy with their Spot the Station website. It's an amazing resource.
Yeah, I'd use it myself. It's super easy to use. You just put in your location and it tells you exactly when and where the ISS will be visible in your sky.
And it tells you how long it'll be visible for, which is important because it's not like a meteor where it just streaks across the sky in a flash. The ISS is a steady light that moves slowly and deliberately. taking several minutes to cross the sky.
So you've got time to really take it in, but you do need to know which direction to look, right? North, south, east, west.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you need to know the elevation, which is basically how high up in the sky it will be. And a good rule of thumb is to use your fist. If you hold your arm out straight and make a fist, that's roughly 10 degrees of elevation.
So aim for at least 40 degrees, right? Like 4 fists stacked on top of each other.
Exactly. That way you're less likely to have trees or buildings blocking your view. And don't just stare at one spot. Scan the sky in the direction the website tells you. And then, at some point, you'll see it. You might wonder at first, is that star moving? But then you'll know. That star is moving.
And that's the ISS. The astronaut we're referencing talked about watching it until it disappeared over the horizon, thinking about the crew inside, going about their day. It really adds a human dimension to the experience.
It's a shared experience, in a way. You're looking up at this incredible feat of engineering, and they're looking down at Earth. It's a connection across vast distances.
So I definitely encourage everyone listening to check out the Spot the Station website, see when the ISS will be visible in your area, and make a point of going outside to watch it. And maybe even invite some friends or family to join you. It's an experience that has the power to inspire a sense of awe and wonder.
It's a reminder that we're all part of this incredible journey of exploration, and it's something that we can all experience together.
All right, so to wrap things up today, we've explored the surprisingly intricate world of the space toilet, a testament to the incredible lengths we go to deal with even the most basic human functions in the challenging environment of space.
And we've touched on the awe-inspiring experience of seeing the International Space Station with our own eyes, a reminder that space exploration is an ongoing adventure that we can all be a part of.
So next time you use the bathroom, take a moment to appreciate the complexity of doing the same thing in zero gravity, hundreds of miles above Earth. And next time you look up at the night sky, remember that one of those stars might actually be the ISS, a symbol of human ingenuity and our shared journey into the cosmos.
It's a journey that's full of surprises, both big and small. And we encourage you to keep exploring, to keep learning, and to keep looking up.
And definitely check out the Spot the Station website. You might be surprised how often the ISS passes overhead. You never know. You might even see it tonight.
Happy spotting!
Until next time.